The C-SPAN network.
In the warmest year on record, it's a snowball.
Now, are we going to see more job losses?
We think there will be.
Nobody gonna turn us around.
Fellas, is it gay to love the environment? This meme's been around for years, but it perfectly encapsulates the themes surrounding Shakira Booker's three-piece set of studio art. Look at Raw Attraction, made in 2001, the second piece in the collection. Like the rest of her studio art, she made Raw Attraction from bits and pieces and shreds of tires, broken pipes, and metal shards. But what is it? Is it a monster, a bird wrapped in feathers, some cosmic horror? Or is the sculpture simply a vagina?
The emails are being misinterpreted.
Well, let's investigate. The shape forms as one wrapped in rubber scales, with sharp metal walls and a curved metal tube protruding from the clit. This vagina looks unsettling, grotesque, and dangerous. Once a symbol of lust and want, the sculpture has now taken on this monstrous form. The trope is known as Vagina Dentata, prominent folklore across multiple cultures depicting the woman's vagina as dangerous. Its sharpness seems ready to emasculate and castrate. Traps of gnarly teeth for the too tempted. The framing of Vagina Dentata in context hints at a more profound meaning, one of masculinity in environmentalism. To connect these points, let's analyze two things in tandem. Booker's first piece, It's Hard to Be Green, and the SNL skit GE Big Boys. In a commercial, Jason Momoa plays a stay-at-home dad as GE tries to make household chores masculine by changing their tools to be power tool-like. So Booker's first piece in the set, though, uses her title very cleverly. So here's a mantra you may have heard at a party or a bar. It's just too difficult to do all this green business. But here's the cost of ease. There's that Lovecraftian horror, tendrils reaching through the piece's frame and curling in the air and across the floor. There are these rubber tubes and tires, shreds of bits and attached to a wooden frame, but can you see any wood? You can't. The tires cover it. The rubber grows and consumes. It's some incomprehensible thing to transform and blot out all life. Rubber is the symbol of the destruction of the environment. At around the minute mark, GE Big Boys comments that these appliances meant to appeal to the masculine man have an energy rating of F-. It's not the central joke of the skit, however, it calls attention to an interesting phenomenon where the hypermasculine sees environmentalism as part of some agenda to remove tradition. Environmentalism became prominent with women's suffrage and civil rights, and is a core tenet of progressivism. Traditional male jobs such as coal mining, oil rig work, the metalworking industry, and more related, the rubber industry, sit under blue-collar culture and have a lot of stake in environmentally unfriendly things. The hypermasculine would naturally have a lot of stake in those environmentally things as well, and connect that perceived homosexual agenda to destroy traditional masculinity to the attack on these harmful industries. To them, environmentalism is emasculation. It's too hard to be green. We need to keep these industries. It's an incredibly attractive way of thinking. To keep the status quo is a strong desire. Looking back at Vagina Dentata, the two themes become apparent. Here is the immense fear of the masculine, the rubber and metal vagina looking to take away what makes a man, but its form leads us to engage with it anyways, to be a man, if you will, to do those environmentally unfriendly things and cut ourselves on its teeth. Her last piece takes us to the end game, conversion. The sculpture is another tangle of rubber tendrils and metal piping in monstrous form. Our eyes draw to the vaguely human form. 2 legs, one shaped with a metal pipe and one rubber tendril. A metal arm jutting out on the right side. A bolt set where the left eye would be. We look into the eye, and our brains trick us into seeing a man staring wide-eyed in terror, in fear, transformed in place into one of our monsters, converted into rubber. This sculpture is the endgame of the rubber, the ease of ignorance and masculinity. This is the real price. Conversion is what we become when we engage with these monsters. Ultimately, Chakira Booker's studio art invites us to reflect on the intricate relationship between environmentalism and masculinity. It challenges us to question our preconceived notions. It urges us to recognize the urgency of addressing environmental issues even when it feels like a threat to traditional ideals of masculinity. It reminds us that the cost of ease and inaction may ultimately lead to a monstrous transformation that we cannot ignore. Fellas, is it gay to love the environment?